My colleague whose report you just listened to, Victor Mbadike, joins me here in the studio. Welcome. Sage Ibrahim joins from Minna in Niger State, where he witnessed the reception of the remaining 130 abductees earlier in the day. Also joining in is retired Major General Chris Olukolade for this conversation and a look at Nigeria's security in the year 2025. Gentlemen, I welcome you warmly to the conversation. I will start with you, Sage. What can you tell us about what you witnessed today at the reception for the girls and their teachers? Have they reunited fully with their families?
I would say yes. First of all, the governor of the state received the abducted children, about 130 of them, most of them very young, most of them looking like are not even over the ages of 7 or 8 years old. But it was a happy moment for the governor. The children were received. The governor, in his words, thanked the president and, of course, described it, as a Christmas gift, not just to the parents, but also to the state government, knowing that this children are going to spend the Yuletide season with families and rather than the hands of the captors. But straight from that, the expectation was that we're going to see these children reunite with their families at the gun house, but it was not the case. Matter of fact, we expect to see, the feeling of happiness, the ecstatic feeling from parents, from guardians, those who these children initially stayed before they were unfortunately abducted, but that's not the case. It was a forward process. The children were handed over to the governor of the state by the representative of the National Security Advisor. Take from that, of course, we saw them take the group photograph that was taken. As a matter of fact, we were not even allowed to even speak with some of these children. They left in the fashion that they came. It was swift, it was up. They came, they were handed over, they were in the bus, and the discharge. From what we understand, children are currently in the custody of the security agencies, where they are expected to undergo health assessment before they are then transported to their families.
Okay, Chris, let me come to you with your overall assessment of what we've seen in 2025. There was spike up and down until we had this recent intervention from the U.S. So I want your assessment prior to the intervention, if you want to describe that, of the U.S. President Donald Trump. Chris, if you can hear me.
Is that for me?
Yes, sir. The question is for you, Chris.
All right. I take it that the news from Niger is one indication of very good progress in terms of addressing our security situation. And if we are reviewing it for the year, it's been so much a challenge to both the government, the various security agencies, and the public at large. We have the seriousness of terrorism and insurgency have continued. Banditry and kidnapping has continued. And the declaration, that we had in the news earlier of government now declaring banditry and kidnapping as terrorism is most welcome and is part of the reactions to that trend, which features so much in 2025. Then there are a series of intercommunal clashes here and there. Found in the East, the issue of IPOB.
Chris, we seem to be having a little bit of challenge with the network from your end, so we'll just pause a bit and come to Victor in the studio and just get an assessment that he can give to us. Putting this report together, what struck you the most as peculiar with our security architecture in the past year, in this 2025?
All right, thank you so much, Felicity. I think there are many of them actually, because it's almost a 10-minute report. At some point, it was even more than 10 minutes because there are so many issues, there's so many incidences, but we had to put them in between that, that time frame just so that we can be more professional. I think the Niger State kidnapping was quite shocking because before now there was what we call a safe school initiative put together by the police. To ensure that our schools are safe, because we've had incidents like this before, it's not new. It's so bad now that when people talk about mass kidnapping in schools, it's
after the Chibok experience, what would expect that the funding would be?
Issues in that regard. And you look at how much, in terms of defense budget being pumped almost every year, it's always increasing, which raises the question as to, do these monies get to the right channels, or do they use it to get the right equipment or weapons or materials to fight these criminals? As a matter of fact, I do understand that the president has, made a proposal of about 5.9 trillion naira in terms of security budgets and
so in comparing both,
last year was just about 4.9, so just about an increase of 0.5.
So it's not reflective of.
We can see it. Again, congratulations. I wouldn't say congratulations because these other school children have been released 130, but that's not enough. The question should be asking basically, the suspects or those who took these children, have they been arrested?
Yeah, that's a key question I want to ask Chris, actually. Chris, if you can hear me, hopefully the network will be better. In recent cases of kidnappings and return of abductees, all we hear and celebrate is their rescue, but there's been no real talk on real reflection as to justice being served against those who are perpetrating this act of kidnapping, because that's something that came up more. And then I want you, in speaking to that, looking for justice, I want you to also speak to the rising level of kidnapping of school children, or the re-emergence of kidnapping of school children, as my colleague had said, despite the humongous amount that's been expended in defense.
Well, the situation we're facing has come to a war situation, and every war is costly. This must be known. And yes, it looks humongous, but when you look at the effect on the ground, it is really desired. And from all indications, both the citizenry and the government knows that there's need to put more resources into combating the situation. I think that's one area I can say the expenditure is somehow justified. But now, considering also the results we are getting, the concern that the prosecution or apprehension of the perpetrators of the crime has not been getting so much attention is definitely of interest. But if we are also following the trend, you will see that recently a lot of trial has been going on, and that's one way to ensure that the process for serving justice to perpetrators of terrorism has increased. You've got a lot of convictions lately, and many cases are also in court. But I think the concern that you mean to say is that there's no record of either fatalities in the course of trying to free the various people who are hearing of their freedom. And that could be a concern. But with time, I believe that we'll get to know how much of these people have been apprehended and the level of justice being served to them. But I know that the process for ensuring that no criminal goes free has not been abandoned, and the various operations in the field indicate wherever the people are able to, wherever they have to get the perpetrators alive, definitely they present them for justice. And wherever they are not apprehended and have to be eliminated, well, the justice has already been served.
All right, Chris.
So the concern, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry to have interjected, but that's the much time will permit us for this conversation. Sage, thank you for the update from Niger State. We're glad the girls and their teachers are back. And of course, Victor in the studio, thank you very much for being here as well. Chris, thank you.